Good morning, all. In fact, I was briefed to have a kind of a discussion on, yeah, speaking on the footprints of change, innovating for responsible tourism, basically to identify the gap between the current tourism practice and technology. So all of you know that 1990s, since 1990s, Kerala has been doing good in tourism because of our wonderful work done by people like Amitabh Kant and his team with the government of Kerala, where we were able to come up with very interesting slogan, God's own country, and be the part of the Indian tourism network. So before 1990s, the condition was the tourists who are coming to India, they were confined to the Agra circle and down south to the Madurai Mamallapuram circle. So it was this intense campaign and hard work that has been done by the government of Kerala that brought in Kerala into this network, and which all of us know that the story of Kerala's tourism since 1990. And the most important aspect now is, in fact, in tourism sector, Kerala is offering a very different experience compared to the tourism experiences in India. We are basically in the tropical climate. Our architecture is different. Our geography is different. Our tourism assets are different. But most important is that we do have our competitors in and around us. Like for example, Sri Lanka, or maybe Maldives, Bali, Indonesia, all these tropical countries in and around Kerala is basically giving the same kind of experiences what Kerala is giving. This has become a major challenge for us. And as you know, if you look at Kerala's density was almost like 900 people per square kilometer, which is thrice the density of India, national density. Similarly, the vehicular density is also almost 3 times compared to the national average, which has created a lot of problem as such. This density is a major constraint that we are all facing in every aspect of life. So all the problems as we find in Kerala, for example, management of waste, energy management, pollution, building density, vehicular density, everything is related to the density. So density is having an impact on tourism. That's my point. So when you say that we do have good beaches in Kerala, just think about that. How many of our beaches are suitable for visitors? It's crowded. I don't think that any foreign travelers will come and be in a place which is crowded, because they are not coming here to see the crowd. That's where the problem happens. So all our tourism destinations, though we do have beautiful destinations, like for example, take Munnar. Munnar is a hill station. I'm telling you very frankly, even my family won't go there, basically because twice we've had very bitter experiences going to Munnar, because almost 4 hours we'll be in block. Starting from the entry towards the center of the town, you have to be in block, traffic jam. So another important aspect is, like for example, the cruise tourists coming here in Cochin. We had a discussion with Cochin Port Trust. The problem is that they are paying almost like 1.5 lakh to park their cruise ship in Cochin Port. And people who are coming out of the Cochin Port, if they want to visit places like for example Munnar or Alleppey, anywhere, The problem is that they have to travel for more than 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours to reach the destination, which is hardly 60 kilometers range. So movement becomes impossible. So the problem is that if you look at destination, our destinations are far, far inferior to the destinations around us. So how is it our tourism is going to thrive with this type of constraints? And it's not very easy to deal with density, as I told in the beginning. It takes a lot of time. But tourism is an ongoing industry. Now, coming to another important aspect, as I told you, Kerala, if you look at the planning guidelines or maybe the planning research, it says that we do have only 5 or 6 areas where we can focus on to. Obviously, agriculture is one area. We can do wonders in agriculture. Similarly, we can do wonders in fisheries. We can do wonders in micro, small-scale industries. We can do wonders in IT sector and service industry. We can also do wonders in hospitality segment. But we don't have any other areas. There is one area which is tourism again, which is having wonderful, chances for us to take. Like for example, at present we do have almost 10% stake for the tourism industry in the average Kerala's, economic content. So the idea of the government is to take this to 13% plus 3. But for that, we have to do a lot of hard work. With this in mind, Kerala Tourism came up with a shift in policy. Like for example, we are looking at now the experience than the destination. There is a shift from focusing on the destination to experience. So what do you mean by this experience? That's what I'm going to speak about. So I'm not going to read these things. These things will remain in the background where you can just go through that while I'm speaking. So all of you know that Kerala was listed as 13th spot in the New York Times annual list of places to visit and was the only tourist destination listed from India. Similarly, we do have lots of accolades or a lot of awards in our credit. But recently a news came up like, Kerala it's also a no-visit place. It can be because of overcrowding, over-tourism. So the geographical location, the cultural diversity, the historical significance, all these things offers us various segments in Kerala tourism like backwater tourism, beach tourism, hill tourism, religious tourism, wellness tourism, cultural tourism, heritage tourism, wildlife tourism. Everything is there in Kerala, in the state. But the problem is that we do have lots of issues too. Cultural erosion, littering, wildlife disturbances, over-tourism, and the impacts of this tourism on our society. There are positive social impacts, there are negative social impacts. The positive social impacts being the revival of the custom and traditions, employment of women and youth, historical preservation, demands for the local products, improvement of education and lifestyle. But at the same time, there are certain negative social impacts, which is the loss of the traditional skills, cultural conflicts, social tension, commodification of culture, exacerbation of social inequalities. So there are several things that we are facing as part of this, tourism influx. Again, strengthening of natural heritage, increased awareness, improved management of sensitive habitats, simulation of funding for natural heritage conservation, increased importance to natural values, all are there. But at the same time, overdevelopment, destruction of environment, overconsumption of natural resources and disturbance to wildlife, pollution, all becomes part of this particular thing. Again, strengthens local economy, employment and income, generates investment, entrepreneurialism, stimulates local business growth, but inadequate sharing of tourism benefits, increased economic dependency on one sector, economic leakage, inflated land and housing prices. I'm not going to explain each of them because most of you know what I mean. Each of these things can be explained. I'll tell you, for example, if you look at the small souvenirs that is being presented in Kerala, most of them are made in China. See, the problem is when we are doing something in Kerala, our state should own, our state should be benefited out of these things. But many a times, if you look at it, all these products are coming from outside. They do have better opportunity and better facility to make it. Like for example, I'll tell you a small story. The small story is that when we were giving a medallion for a tourist event in sports, we designed something and we wanted to make it. So we asked the vendors where to get it from, and we got quotes from different parts of India. That particular medallion that we designed was quoted almost like 900 rupees to 1200 rupees per piece. So we had to give around 60 medals. Just imagine the amount that will be. And it was a beautifully designed medal. But finally, you know that this same medal was made out 50 rupees from China. Because they don't have the technology to make it and sell it. That is where we are lacking. I'm citing one example. Similarly, you take anything which is related to the tourism industry. You may wonder what are all those materials. Like for example, starting from going into the hotel, each and every product that you see around, the bed sheets, the bed covers, the bedspreads, the soap that you use there, the what do you call, the artifacts that is there inside, the paintings, everything is sourced from outside. That is where, all these things can be made inside. We do have the capacity. We do have the skills here. But none of these skills are being used. So that's why, I'm telling you, each of these aspects do have a lot of impact on tourism industry. So, coming back to what I was mentioning in the beginning, we don't have any kind of leverage on the control of our, the system. It's a part of culture. I'm sad to say this. When I visited Kuruva Island in Wayanad, when I went there was a changada undavade across this, to connect. Ee changadathil engane enikku thonnikkunnu 50 പേർക്ക് കേറാൻ പറ്റും. അതിനകത്തൊരു 150 പേരുണ്ടായിരുന്നു അന്ന് കേറാൻ. And the entire forest area, which is pristine and very kind of beautiful place, is filled up with people. ആൾക്കാർ ഇങ്ങനെ ശബരിമല പോകുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങോട്ട് പോയിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുക. What sort of tourism will happen there? You take our beaches. We do have beautiful beaches, but we don't encourage the concept of private beaches because appo nammade democratic spirit varum. ഇത് എല്ലാവർക്കും വേണ്ടിയുള്ളതാണ്, തുറന്നു കൊടുത്തേ പറ്റുള്ളൂ എന്ന് പറയും. ശരിയാണ്. പക്ഷേ അവിടെ പ്രോബ്ലം പറ്റുന്നത്, നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിലൊരു ഇഷ്യൂ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, നമ്മുടെ കൾച്ചർ ഇപ്പോഴും ടൂറിസത്തിനെ അംഗീകരിച്ചിട്ടില്ല ഇൻറ്റേർണലി. വളരെ കുറച്ച് ശതമാനം ആൾക്കാർ മാത്രമേ ടൂറിസത്തെ ടൂറിസമായിട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ട് അത് നമ്മുടെ ഇക്കണോമിക് ബെനിഫിറ്റിനും കൂടെ പറ്റും എന്ന് ആലോചിക്കുന്ന വളരെ കുറഞ്ഞ ആൾക്കാരെ ഇപ്പോഴും ഉള്ളൂ. അത് മാറിയിട്ട് ഇത് നമ്മുടെ സാധ്യതയാണ്, നമ്മുടെ യുവാക്കൾക്കുള്ള ഫ്യൂച്ചറാണ്, നമ്മുടെ പുതിയ മേച്ചിൽപ്പുറമാണെന്ന് കണ്ട് അതിനനുസരിച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നടത്തുവാൻ ഇപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ടില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇതിനകത്ത് ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു പോയിന്റ്. ഇപ്പോൾ കേരളത്തെ സംബന്ധിച്ചോളം ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞു, there is a concept called cultural geography. I was attending a conference in US where we were speaking about the cultural traits and about the states and regions. So I mentioned the word Kerala. So one of the professors there, he asked me, define Kerala. It was a very, very serious question when he asked me what to define Kerala. Sherikim, Kerala is basically, it's an administrative entity. We can't define a place. It is basically done for administration. But if you look at the places are confined by many other aspects, or maybe they are defined by many other aspects. There is a theory called theory of cultural geography. അങ്ങനെ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കേരളത്തിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുന്ന സ്ഥലമെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നാഞ്ചിനാട് എന്ന് പറയും. നാഞ്ചിനാട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ്സ് എ കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ റീജിയൻ. കുട്ടനാട് ഈസ് അനദർ കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ റീജിയൻ. വള്ളുവനാട് ഈസ് അനദർ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ റീജിയൻ. അങ്ങനെ കേരളത്തിലുടനീളം നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഏകദേശം 42ഓളം പാച്ചസ് ആണ്, കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ പാച്ചസ് ആണുള്ളത്. ഈ കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ പാച്ചസിന് ടൂറിസത്തിലുള്ള സിഗ്നിഫിക്കൻസ് എന്താണ്? കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ പാച്ചസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ദാറ്റ് ഗിവ്സ് ഐഡൻറ്റിറ്റി ടു യു. നമ്മൾ അതിനകത്തൊരു ചെറിയൊരു എലിമെൻ്റ് മാത്രമാണ്. മനുഷ്യൻ എപ്പോഴാണോ നാച്ചുറൽ ലാൻഡ്സ്കേപ്പിൽ തൂമ്പയെടുത്ത് വെട്ടി മണ്ണിനെ ടൈം ചെയ്യാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നത്, അന്ന് തൊട്ട് കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിയുടെ തുടക്കമാവുകയാണ് അവിടെ. അപ്പോൾ എന്താണ് അവിടെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ, ഈ പറയുന്ന നേച്ചറിനെ നമ്മൾ ടൈം ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവിടെ നമ്മൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയെടുക്കുന്ന എല്ലാം, അത് ഫുഡാവട്ടെ, നമ്മുടെ ലാംഗ്വേജ് ആവട്ടെ, നമ്മുടെ എന്താ പറയുക ആർക്കിടെക്ചർ ആവട്ടെ, ആർട്ടിഫാക്ട്സ് ആവട്ടെ, എന്തും അവിടെ കാണുന്ന എല്ലാം ആ ജോഗ്രഫിയുടെ ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ്സാണ്. അതാണ് കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ കോൺസെപ്റ്റ്സ് പറയുന്നത്. ഈ കൾച്ചറൽ ജോഗ്രഫിയാണ് ടൂറിസത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്ന ഇൻറ്റൻസ് വിഷ്വൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഈ ഇൻറ്റൻസ് വിഷ്വൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആണ് നമ്മളെ ടൂറിസ്റ്റ് ആക്കുന്നത്. അത് ശരിക്കും വളരെ സിംപ്ലിഫൈഡ് ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവും. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരുപക്ഷെ കുഞ്ഞുനാളോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ കുട്ടിക്കാലം ഓർമ്മയുണ്ടാവും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോഴും കുട്ടികളെ നോക്കിയാൽ മതി, അവരൊരു സ്ഥലം കാണാൻ പോകുമ്പോൾ കണ്ണ് തുറന്നിരിക്കും അവരുടെ. കാരണം വെച്ചാൽ അവർക്ക് അത്ഭുതമാണ്. ചുറ്റിൽ കാണുന്ന സാധനങ്ങൾ അവർ കാണുന്നത് കാഴ്ച കാണുന്നത് വളരെ അത്ഭുതത്തോടു കൂടിയാണ്. പക്ഷേ പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ വലുതാവും തോറും നമ്മൾ ആ കാഴ്ച മങ്ങിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. നമ്മളെ കാഴ്ചകൾ, നമ്മുടെ പല കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മളെ എന്താ പറയുക കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെ ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക ഇറ്റ് ബിക്കംസ് സം സോർട്ട് ഓഫ് കോമൺ സൈറ്റ്സ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂസ് ആൻഡ് വി ഡോണ്ട് സീ ദ ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ഇൻ ദാറ്റ്. ദെൻ വാട്ട് ഹാപ്പൻസ് ഇസ് ദാറ്റ് വി മിസ് ദ എസൻസ് ഓഫ് പ്ലേസ്. ആ ഒരു കൾച്ചർ ഇല്ലാത്ത കൊണ്ടാണ് പലപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് ഒരു സ്പേസ് ആസ്വദിക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്തത്. സോ റെസ്പോൺസിബിൾ ടൂറിസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് വി ആർ ട്രൈങ് ടു identify those areas which is having this sensitive cultural specificity and go beyond that, experiencing that. So responsible tourism is all about making better places for people to live in and better places for people to visit. So it's having three components here: environmental conservation, economic vitality, cultural awareness, community involvement and empowerment, and progress in tourism that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation is what all this particular thing speaks about. So there are several do's and don'ts in responsible tourism. Practicing responsible tourism is a very important thing and which is very, what do you call, responsible thing. Supporting artisans and small businessmen, staying longer to experience more, respect the local culture and etiquette, reduce, reuse and recycle, travel off-peak or shoulder. There are several things. I don't want to read all those things. So you can just go through that when this slide is there. So I'll tell you one good small example. I don't know. Like for example, if you have been to a beach, we are going to a beach to enjoy the beach. But many a times when we look at it, we try to fill it up with products. Shangumukh is a good example. Shangumukh beach is not there now. We have exploited that in several ways. In fact, Shangumukham is basically nature. In a dominant nature, when we go to a nature, we are trying to explore nature, we are trying to experience nature. Instead of that, our idea is to put up, several things there, having paved areas. നമ്മൾ ബീച്ചിൽ പോകുമ്പോൾ കാലിൽ മണ്ണ് കൊള്ളുന്ന ഒരു സുഖം ഒരിക്കലും പേയ്മെൻറ്റിൽ കൂടെ നടന്നാൽ കിട്ടില്ല. എന്തിനാണ് ബീച്ചിൻ്റെ സൈഡിൽ പേയ്മെൻറ്റ്? അപ്പോൾ ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ റെസ്പോൺസിബിൾ ടൂറിസത്തിൻ്റെ കാഴ്ചപ്പാടേ വ്യത്യാസമാണ്. ഞാനൊരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറയുന്നതേ ഉള്ളൂ. പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മളുടെ ആ ഒരു പ്രകൃതി ഭംഗിയെ അതേപോലെ വെച്ചുകൊണ്ട് അത് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് പകരം പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് നെഗറ്റീവായിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളാണ്. കുറേ കാലം മുമ്പ് ഞാൻ അലാസ്കയിൽ പോയപ്പോൾ, അലാസ്കയിൽ ടൂറിസ്റ്റാണ് കൂടുതലും വരിക. അവിടെ ആൾക്കാർ താമസം കുറവാണ്. എല്ലാ എയർപോർട്ട്സിൽ നിന്നും അലാസ്കയിലോട്ട് പോകുന്ന ഫ്ലൈറ്റിൽ വളരെ സീരിയസ് സ്ക്രീനിങ് ആണ്. അവിടെയൊക്കെ ബോർഡിൽ എഴുതി വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു സാധനം ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ പാടില്ല, ആഹാരം കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ പാടില്ല, നമ്മുടെ കുറേ റെസ്ട്രിക്ഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട് അവിടെ പോകാൻ. എന്നിട്ട് അവിടെയൊക്കെ എഴുതിയിട്ടുണ്ട് ഇത് വളരെ ഫ്രജൈലായിട്ടൊരു എൻവയൺമെൻറ്റൽ റീജിയനാണ്, അവിടെ ഇന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ എന്നൊക്കെ എഴുതി വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതേപോലത്തെ ഒരു ഫ്രജൈൽ ഏരിയയാണ് കേരള എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. നമുക്കിവിടെ എവിടെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കൺട്രോൾസ് ഉള്ളത്? നമുക്കിവിടെ എന്തും ചെയ്യാം എവിടെയും. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു ആറ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡ് തന്നെ പ്രശ്നമാണ്. അതാണ് ഈ സെവറൽ ഡൂസ് ആൻഡ് ഡോൺസ് ഉണ്ട് റെസ്പോൺസിബിൾ ടൂർ. ഇതെപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയിട്ടില്ല. എംബ്രേസിങ് ട്രഡീഷണൽ വിസ്ഡം. നമുക്ക് ധാരാളം ഇൻഡിജിനസ് കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീസ് ഇവിടെയുണ്ട് വിച്ച് ഹാഡ് ലിവ്ഡ് ഇൻ ഹാർമണി വിത്ത് നേച്ചർ, ഡെവലപ്പിംഗ് യുണീക് പ്രാക്ടീസസ് ആൻഡ് പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ്സ്. Their knowledge can be shared, inform sustainable tourism practices, reducing waste and promoting eco-friendly operations, enriching cultural experiences, sharing stories, music, art and craftsmanship, integrating traditional knowledge in tourism, engaging local communities. Then benefits of integration of traditional knowledge and tourism, creating unique and authentic experiences, setting destinations apart, generating economic benefits for local communities, preserving cultural diversity, protecting intangible heritage, foster environmental stewardship, promoting sustainable practices. So all these places, what we need is to preserve and conserve that so that the experience becomes deep and intense. And if you look at the challenges and opportunities faced by the tourism sector, for centuries, indigenous communities have lived in harmony with nature, developing unique practices and perspectives. Their knowledge can inform sustainable tourism practices, reducing waste and promoting eco-friendly operations. All those, I mean, I'm again not going to read that, you can just go through that. But history teaches us that the cultural exchange and mutual respect can lead to profound understanding and growth. We must learn from past mistakes, but this is what we have done to tourism in Kerala. If you go to any tourism destination, what we can see is this, the waste being collected. So now I'm coming to the role of technology. In this whole aspect of tourism experience, what we can do, what the younger generation can do, what innovators can do, what entrepreneurs can do. There are several things that is happening in and around us. There are several learnings. So the technology can bridge gaps, connecting travelers with local communities and facilitate the cultural exchange. So digital platforms are widely being used nowadays to showcase traditional arts and crafts, provide cultural insights and context, facilitate community-led tourism initiatives. Even before going somewhere, we can have an experience of what it is, what we expect there. Education and awareness, cultural orientation programs, responsible travel guidelines, community engagement initiatives, recognizing traditional knowledge as a valuable resource, supporting community-led tourism initiatives, integrating cultural sensitivity in tourism education, and celebrating cultural diversity through responsible tourism practices. So which is the right time to call to action? So there are several aspects to this, community-based tourism, environmental conservation, marketing and branding. These are all domains where we can really think about. I can just show you some of the innovative startup ideas in the tourism sector. Sustainable tourism platforms, developing platforms that promote eco-friendly accommodations, transportation activities, etc., catering to the growing demand of responsible travel. Personalized travel planning, virtual tourism experience, social impact tourism, travel technology and accessibility, eco-friendly accommodation marketplaces, cultural heritage preservation, travel safety and security, innovative transportation solutions, travel education and training, agro-tourism and farmstay concepts, experiential villages, case studies from around the globe. There are several interesting examples which is happening in the world, like the Questo from Romania is a very interesting gaming app for travelers. Batch from New York, which is designed specially for bachelor or bachelorette parties. Whimstay from California, designed for the last-minute travelers. Boom Supersonic from Colorado. Levy from Paris, France. Airalo, Tripsider, Baby Quip, Troop, Road Surfer, Rikito Trail, Pilot, Kindred. So these are all very interesting projects that is happening in tourism sector, which aids to this, the whole concept of responsible tourism. So the future of tourism is basically, narratives of various aspects that you see in and around, which otherwise it's not visible. Every country is having its own small stories, its own places, its own unexplored areas, and which is all having very interesting anecdotes related to that. Identifying that and, taking the travelers to that place, giving them novel experience, all this becomes part of this, this responsible tourism initiative as far as technology is concerned. So the future of tourism storytelling is a powerful tool for cultural transmission. Local communities can share their stories, legends and histories through guided tours, cultural performance and interactive exhibits. We can have marketing and awareness campaigns to promote eco-friendly destination activities, local storytelling, raise awareness among tourists, collaborations, partner with influencers, travel agencies and global platforms, certifications and incentives. So I think I finished it within time. So my idea was just to mention that we are entering into a new phase of tourism. As far as Kerala is concerned, the state government is coming up with the version 2 of tourism, where we are shifting our focus from destination to experience. So this whole concept of experience-based tourism is opening up a lot of employment opportunities and also opportunities for the technology sector to enter in. And I sincerely hope that there will be takers for this innovations which can lead to a better destination and also to solve many of the problems that tourism is facing in Kerala. With this, I am ending up. Thank you.